should have been a cowboy. I should have learned to rope ride.
Felipe, how are you, my brother?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I am doing well. It's so warm here in Alberta today. 69 Fahrenheit, my man.
It always gets hot in Alberta when I leave Alberta. Like it's ridiculous. And it's cold here. I'm in Wyoming right now in Jackson and it's freezing, bro. Like I didn't bring enough jackets freezing. Like there's so much snow,
Oh,
it's ridiculous.
frick,
Yeah.
dude, my Wyoming wind gets blowing and it is brutal.
Bro, I think some of the coldest days of my life was spent in Wyoming. Like it's crazy how cold it gets here, right?
How long, like, for your ride from Calgary to Brazil, how long did it take you to get through Wyoming? Do you remember?
That's a good question. It's funny because I'm trying to remember everything. We just drove from Calgary down to Yellowstone National Park. So I crossed a lot of the same terrain that I would have when I was riding the horses. And I'm trying to remember, like, where did I sleep? It's so crazy, bro. It hasn't been that long. It's like 12 years. But some houses I remember, some places I'm like, I pitched my tent here, like I think. But then some places I have no recollection. But I think Wyoming took me about, I want to say like a month. I came through the portion of it through Yellowstone National Park from Bozeman. I dropped down through to a little place called Gardner into Yellowstone. Rode through Yellowstone, came out in Cody, Wyoming, where they have a rodeo every night of the summer. I almost didn't leave. I met an
Yeah.
old Texan that had he was there tied down roping. He's like, I can just use my horse. And so I had a hard time leaving that place. It was amazing. Then I went through Daniel and then dropped down to Rollins and off to Craig, Colorado. I want to say about a month. A very tough, dry, windy month of my life. But I always say, hey, bro, like Wyoming is I think the biggest cowboy region in the world. Like Texas is like the rich cousin. Montana is pretty cowboy, but it ain't getting more cowboy than Wyoming, bro.
Yeah, dude, you gotta get the old chaps on and start riding the hills out there and be ready for some friction
Yeah,
because it is brutal. Brutal.
it's
Wow,
brutal, bro.
that's a long time.
But yo, let's we have a big show today. We're gonna interview Cole Harris, huge fan from the Harris family, creating some awesome content. Let's freaking rodeo podcast, killing it. But before we get to that, and we're gonna talk to him about this as well, because he had the honor of being one of the last people to interview the late great, I can't even believe I'm saying this, legend, the original GOAT, Roy Super Looper Cooper. How sad is that, bro, to lose such a legend?
Man, yeah, it really hit home because when they said he was 69, dude, I guess I didn't realize he was still that young. Like that's not
I
very
know.
old at all. So, and I knew he was dealing with some health problems. So initially that's what I thought it was, and then I was freaking horrified, man, to find out that it was through a house fire. Like that's just
Oh, I know.
worst of the worst. So, I mean,
Oh,
you just never it when it hits close to home like that because the rodeo community and family is tighter than anybody thinks, right? When it hits close to
yeah,
home like that, dude, it made
yeah.
you stop and go, "Oh wow, we just lost one of the absolute sport changing individuals."
Yeah, man, it's just I don't know, I just my heart goes out, to Cliff, to Tough, to all the entire family, entire Cooper family, like all his friends. He had so many friends. This guy was so nice, bro. Like I met him. Like I'm just blessed that like through Tough, I was able to create some memories with Roy. One of them was like going to watch the NFR with this guy. Like I just met him. Tough is having some hard problems. This is like 2016, 2017. Things aren't clicking at the NFR. He's got a ranch outside, a buddy of his that he goes to run calves when he needs to, and he's out there tying, I think like 200 times. Like I've never seen someone work so hard in my life. It honestly was just like also a step back to be like, man, this guy's a four-time world champ, and he's out here like sweating profusely because he wants to. He's that hungry. He wants to continue to win, and that's when I met Roy, and he thought my trip was crazy. He was, I can't believe you rode through Mexico. He's like, George doesn't even go to Mexico anymore. Like George Strait was like his bar of things to do and what not to do. And that night he's like, you got tickets to the rodeo? I'm like, no, I don't, Roy. He's like, you're coming with me. So he's like, meet me at the MGM. I meet him there. There's a beautiful stretch limo picks us up. They drive us down to the Thomas Mack. We get our tickets. I'm in a box with Roy Cooper,
What?
like watching the NFR. Like Roy, like my dad idolized this guy. I idolize this guy. Like, and now he's sitting there just like sharing stories with me and treating me like a peer. Like unbelievable, bro. And that's the way he was every time I saw him. Last year he came up to the Stampede, brought me a present. Tough was like, it was like the showdown Sunday. Tough's like, hey man, I'm so sorry, but my dad brought you some presents. Do you mind coming to the trailer? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't
Yeah.
care what I'm doing. I'm going to I go there. He's got like a little bag, bro, like Sunglass Hut. And
Yeah.
Roy Cooper has brought me a t-shirt, an old DVD of his, and just like a few things. I was just like, what is that? Like, who are you? Like, you're Roy Cooper, 8-time world champ, 4-time Calgary Stampede champ, like revolutionized the sport. And anyways, he's just one of the kindest humans I've ever met.
Dude, that's so cool. That's so cool. Because like you said, you got to see that side of him where he was just an absolute animal, tying from the post and tying calves. And then to turn
Yeah,
around and to remember a guy like, oh, hey, you're going to Stampede. That Felipe guy's going to be up there. Here, take this to him. Like, what the hell? You know
exactly,
what I
bro.
mean? That's so
That
nice.
like that nobody, bro. Like, who am I? Like, this guy thinks of me, and that's just the way he was. And you can tell that that's the way he was by the reaction. We're seeing the outpouring reaction in social media. I can't open my social media and not see a post from someone, from some news agency, from some world champion, just saying like everybody. We talk about the greats, Joe Beaver posting about how important he was. And then we talk about guys like Money Mayfield talking about how he'll never forget the times in his office and Roy's office and talking to him, and Ty Harris, and just across the board, like everyone loved this guy just because he was not only an amazing competitor and athlete, and we could talk about everything he brought to the rodeo, but just the human being that he was.
Yeah, he's made a huge impact on the sport, on a lot of people. And I mean, the guy that we're about to
Yeah.
talk to are they his brothers or his cousins? Are Ty and Cole
His cousins,
cousins? Okay, yeah. So I mean,
Ty and Joel.
yeah. So even the impact he's had right there on his family, it's huge. And speaking of Cole, let's get to Cole Harris.
Let's go.
What's up, guys?
Fellow
What's up,
Cole.
bro? What are you
Can you
listening to over there?
The Let's Frickin' Rodeo podcast on Cowboy Channel right now.
Oh, the hottest thing in the game, bro. You guys are killing it. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, Felipe. Hey, Cole, what's up, man?
Hey man,
Strong
good to
name.
officially meet. Yeah, I know, dude. I've met like 4 Coles in the last month. It's actually been incredible. You go from meeting none of
Yeah,
them to all of them.
Bro,
we're together. The rise
ne-
of the Cole.
never trust a Cole. Never trust a
A
Cole.
hunk of Cole.
Felipe, chill.
I know. You guys have more numbers than me here. Listen, Cole, I want to talk. I want to thank you first of all for making the time. I know you're a busy guy to chat with us. I want to talk about all the extraordinary things you're doing. The first time I heard about you was through an amazing documentary called Journey to the NFR that you made, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, which is just unbelievable. Like our industry deserves and needs more of that, like an in-depth look at seven of the best competitors in the world heading to the NFR, trying to win that gold buckle. It was amazing. Got to meet you at the Calgary last year, which was awesome. Finally,
Sure.
meet you personally. But the first thing I want to talk about is Roy Cooper, the great late. I can't believe we're saying this. I was talking to Cole that he seems like someone that would live forever because he was bigger than life. But you were one of the last people to have the extraordinary opportunity to sit across from this man and learn and share stories and create moments with him. Tell us about what that was like, Cole. First of all, how did you guys get that opportunity? Was it through Tough? Because I haven't seen many interviews from him in his later years. And what was that moment like?
Yeah, big question off the bat. Roy's obviously a legend, and it's very sad news to hear what happened and passing away in the rodeo community. I mean, he's the grandfather of roping, calf
Yeah,
roping. I mean,
yeah.
so yeah, him passing away is a huge deal, and it was such a privilege getting to sit down with him. And me and Ty got to go over there probably 2.5 months ago. I think we recorded it in February. Sit down at his house and set up the podcast and talk for about an hour and a half. And unfortunately 45 minutes of it wasn't recorded because I have to set up all my gear, and he's sitting there on his little couch right here. If y'all can see, I'm watching it right now. He's sitting
On the Cowboy channel now, right?
It's on the
Just
Cowboy
dropped.
channel right now, and we got to air it to honor Roy and his legacy. But this is obviously Ty. But when it pans to him, you can see him sitting in his little chair.
Yeah.
I'm setting up my podcast stuff, trying to get my cameras up, and he's just talking, telling stories already. I'm like, Mr. Roy, can you save it for the podcast, please? Like, the people need to hear this. But hey, what a amazing opportunity! What a blessing! You know, Ty has a connection with Tough. Ty gave him a call and said, "Man, we want to sit down with Roy and tell all these stories." And Tough said, "Let's do it, baby." Like, and you know how Roy is. He's like, "Let's do it, baby." So we got to go over there, and yeah, what an amazing opportunity! The grandfather of calf roping. What a privilege it was to do that. And thanks to Ty, I mean, some of these guys, I was thinking about it earlier. Thinking about this podcast, I was like, podcasting has given me, Cole Harris. You're right. Like, I'm a filmmaker, but there's something about doing this podcast with Ty that has given me the opportunity to sit down with people like Roy Cooper that, frankly, Felipe, I probably would not get to talk to outside of it. Like, thanks to Ty, thanks to the podcast, I get to sit down here and listen to stories and ask cool questions. And I'm truly grateful. It's a blessing, bro. The moment doesn't, what am I trying to say? I'm very grateful for what I get to do with Ty and Let's Freaking Radio.
Was it a little
Yeah, man,
intimidating sitting down with them at first, or did you kind of go a little bit, get settled in, and then everything was good?
No, so some of these guys, I mean, Ty knows them more than me. So Ty grew up going to Roy Cooper's ropings. He's been around, so Ty knows them better than me, but these are rodeo legends that I've never even spoken to. So yeah, you can say that, bro. I'm a little nervous. I'm trying to fill it out. Know my place. It's one of those things when they know each other, but you're the odd man out. You're that third wheel kind of. When to ask questions. But Roy's he's an electric storyteller. So I flowed right in. I asked my first question. Ty teamed me up, and I got to ask him, "Where'd you get the nickname Super Looper?" And man, it's like I'd known Roy my whole life, just the way we talked on that podcast and afterwards and everything, man. But Roy's one of a kind. Not many people can tell stories in that way, like we were there. And I have a theory on it too, guys. We're in the generation of phones now, so we just video and we watch. But you think about these cowboys, they're going around driving from rodeo to rodeo. Something crazy happens. They're telling it to their friends. They're talking about it for 8 hours to the next rodeo. They get to the rodeo, but no one has a video of it. So they're telling the story, and they tell the story 1,000 times. That's ingrained to their brain. But us, we see a video and it's cool, but then it doesn't, it's just not the same effect. So that's my theory on why these old guys can become such great storytellers compared to us.
Well, you know what? And the other thing is that because of the phone and the world we live in, we're not creating the stories these guys are creating. Like, guess what? Like, you've had Joe B on the pod, right? You've had Coldio. You've had, like, these guys lived a life we can't even imagine nowadays. Like, they were doing things that were just insane and sharing those stories. And I think what's interesting about you is that, because you're, like you said, an outsider, which you're not an outsider, you're in the rodeo, but you can ask different questions and see things differently sometimes, as opposed to maybe Ty, who has been in this world for so long. Do you feel like that sometimes, like you're seeing another side of the story?
Oh yeah. So I rodeoed, grew up in the Western way of life, but rodeoed till 6th grade. Quit. My dad said, "You either got to play baseball or rodeo," and I said, "I'm gonna play baseball."
Nice.
Went the sports route, and kind of stepped away from the Western way of life. Kind of was just basketball, football. Played college basketball for a year at a small college, but not Western at all. And then I get reconnected with Ty, and me and Ty weren't even close back then. We were close because we were family. We used to be best friends in middle school, early high school, and then he's off rodeo, and so we just don't really talk. Then we reconnect, and yeah, I have a fresh outlook. Ty and these guys, and number one is the storylines. And Felipe and Cole, I'll tell you what, the one thing I stopped doing was asking people's names. Like you'll go up and you'll meet a legend. Like imagine going up to Roy Cooper and be like, "Hey, I'm Cole. What's your name?" Or even Felipe, you're a documentary. You're the commentator of the calf open out Calgary. You're a big deal too, bro. And you're sitting there, "Oh, I'm Cole Harris. What's your name?" You just got to learn. I learned very quick asking people who are legends in the sport, who are you? You know, and I just learned real quick. Ty's like, bro, you gotta stop saying that because these like you gotta know who this is.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I just have a fresh outlook because I come from the basketball world, football world, and especially when it comes to video, you know, you have those captivating stories that get told, and then you come with that whole outlook to a rodeo, and you're like, dude, I can tell this documentary in this way, or I can see it in this way. Especially questions to ask, like, you know, Rodeo for Dummies is a big thing we do on Let's Freaking Rodeo. We used to, big thing we started with. But it's because most people have no idea the lingo of the cowboy way, you know, lingo of calf roping, the slack, the hooey, the barrier, you know, all the stuff.
Yes, sir. I feel like tied-on ropers can have a whole conversation with just yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love it, man.
That's Ty. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He does that. Yeah, the fresh outlook, bro. I mean, especially with stories, you know, I think when I came on the scene with my videos, people liked it just because it was different.
Yeah.
I think I'm a Christian, and I've always said there's a running joke that the church is always 10 years behind. You know, in terms of whatever's popping in mainstream, the church is 10 years behind. When I said if the church is 10 years behind, then the rodeo world's 20. You know, so people are like, Cole, you're doing amazing stuff, and I'm like, I'm really just doing stuff that's already happening, and bringing it into the Western industry or trying my hardest. And then, yeah, when it comes to calf roping or when it comes to the podcast, that's what Ty says. My greatest strength to that or asset to the podcast is he'll be on talking and I'll ask a common question that no one would think to ask. And he's like, oh my gosh, we got to answer that. So I definitely think I bring a fresh perspective for sure. I hope I do. I hope I got flamed a couple times in the comments already in the early podcast for saying something that I should have known. So
Don't read the comments, bro. Don't read the comments, especially if you got a barrel racer on. If you got a barrel racer, stay away from the comments.
did y'all see that? Cole, did you see that?
No,
On Facebook, bro, the Facebook dude, we had Charmaine James on the podcast, and she said a simple thing because when barrel races go around, she was, you know, don't lift that leg, okay, leg lift. You know, the girls will get so close to the barrel that to lift the legs, they don't knock it over. And she was just made a one-liner like, ride your horse to the correct spot so you don't gotta lift your leg. And people were in Facebook going crazy, like, hey, you know, Emily Beisel was one. She said, ouch, LOL, because she lifts her leg every run. She's NFR qualifying cowgirl, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Facebook stuff.
Dude, but that's what I love about them podcasts too, is sometimes you catch people who will just say that real shit that needs to be said. Guess what, ladies? Ride your horse, you know?
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. No, she wasn't even trying to be controversial. She just said, hey, you can get by, lift your leg every once in a while, but if you create a bad habit, it's gonna come back and bite you eventually. You know, that's not a controversial thing to say.
It lit up the boards.
The barrel racing community is probably the biggest community in rodeo, so they ran with it on Facebook. It was crazy.
Nah, they're very vocal. They're very vocal as well. Like
very vocal, Felipe.
Like a couple years ago, I think it was like 2 years ago. I don't remember if it was last year. Butch was fine, but someone's voice was bad, and Janie wasn't able to do the bear racing like the opener because she now had to go on the broadcast, and I had to do the opening of the barrel racing, and it was the scariest experience of my life because I knew like any dot, comma, anything, like any look, like anything I said wrong, like I was gonna get, you know, lit up in the message boards. Like it's a lot of pressure.
Careful.
You gotta be
when you commentate the calf roping, do you get ridiculed at all or what?
I don't read the message boards. I'm sure I do because like I told you guys on the podcast, like I'm bringing a totally different way of doing it. You know, I'm Latin American, so it's like the example I use. If you watch soccer, that's, you know, got a Canadian narrating it, it's one way. If you got a Brazilian, it's another way. So I can't change how passionate I am about these calls, but I don't read it. I just don't read it because you know, I know that it's like everything in life, you know, everyone can like it or hate it, right? Like there's two ways of looking at it, and you just got to do you and try to do the best you can. And I stay away from those boards.
No, one of my top 5 rodeo moments is Calgary. Like one of my top 5 rodeos is Calgary because of Felipe, the way you bring a soccer field to a traditional field, you know, normally a traditional sport. I love the
Yeah.
energy. I love it.
It's hard, I try to put my heart into it, and I love the gig, and like I said, I told you guys, I don't, like you just said about the pod and the people you're interviewing, I feel the same way. I grew up tie down roping. Now I'm calling Ty Harris, I'm calling Joe Harris, I'm calling freaking Money Mayfield. Like,
Yep.
I'm pointing at Money Mayfield and yelling lollipop when he just roped a 6'7". Like, for me as a kid, when I look back and think like that's a dream come true. So it's an honor, and I don't take it lightly. But let's get back to you, buddy.
Well,
You
hold on.
talk.
One more question. One more thing I gotta say about you. You gave me brownie points with my girlfriend's dad too, because my girlfriend's dad, I told him, how do you tell your girlfriend's dad? You're trying to make a good impression, right? You're like, yeah, I do a podcast. He's probably like, you do probably, he's a podcaster. Well, one of the first ones he watched was Felipe's.
Uh,
Going all that way on horseback, and he now a huge fan of the podcast. But the first exposure he had to Let's Freaking Rodeo was Felipe's interview. So I gotta thank
Damn.
you, because now he has a high perspective of me. I have you.
Well,
So I
thank you
gotta
so
thank
much. Send my love to him. Send my love to him. I hope to get to meet him one day. Well, let's get back to you, bro. I want to talk about you. We're losing minutes here. I want to know, you talked about, growing up in the rodeo world till you're 6, and then you made the pivot into sports. At what point did you decide you were going to come back heavy into rodeo and you were going to create this content? Was it something gradual, or did you see the opportunity?
It wasn't even. I guess you could say it was an opportunity, because I was starting to make good videos by myself. I had created a Christian podcast called Kingdom Vision, where I was talking about the Lord, and that's where I learned everything. And so then you fast forward 2022. Ty is just now, he's in year 5, right? He's getting to be more
Yeah.
veteran. He's getting good. He's a regular NFR Cowboy. So I'm like, Ty, let me make a reel for you, one reel for you.
Wow.
So I went ahead and did that, and I was like that was fun. It felt right. So then I ended up moving out to San Angelo, moved in with Ty in
Oh, I didn't know
all
that.
of 2022, like November 2022. Go to the NFR that year, sneak my camera into the Thomas and Mack, which you're not supposed to do, but I'll tell on the Should Have Been a Cowboy podcast. I'm trying to be a cowboy, sneak my camera in the Thomas and Mack, get some videos. It's working. I get a video of Zeke Thurston. That's the year he won a gold buckle. He posts my video that I made, and at that point, I'm like, dude, he's one of the greatest saddle bronc riders of all time, and he's posting my video. That was like such a huge, huge moment for me. Like Zeke, like that's one of the greatest, and he posts. I remember it being so, like a catalyst for me. January 2023, I go to Denver. I take a video of Tough Cooper, Super Looper's son, and he posts it and he collabs with me. Again, another catalyst. And like, these are guys now that I talk to, I see at the rodeos, and it's like, hey, what's up, bro? But at that point, it's a 4-time world champion, Tough Cooper. He's like, what? It's like LeBron.
Yeah.
But so point being, to answer your question, it wasn't that I saw an opportunity like, wow, I can make an impact, make money, or anything like that. It was, I'm going with Ty, and let me just make a cool video. Okay, now this next for you. Let me make a cool video. Okay, this guy posted me. I must have something going for me. Let me go one more. And it literally was like one rodeo at a time.
That's super cool, man. I also had the similar question of kind of how you worked your way into this, how you essentially put the time in training yourself. Like you said, you had your own Catholic podcast going. But I went back and found what I thought is maybe your greatest video ever to this day, and it was called Tonto Rides Again.
So yeah, Tonto, that's the guy. I was my girlfriend's in the back, and she's laughing the fact that you said that. So I was an actor, Cole. I was an actor in that video, but that was produced by my younger cousin Wyatt, Ty's little brother. He is
Okay.
low budget filmmakers. So yes, Tonto Rides Again was a Western skit that my cousin Wyatt put together, starring Brogan Miller. He works for Ty's driver and ranch hand. He was the main, and I was a supporting actor.
Oh, so
If
you
you
were
had
on the
seen that
pony?
I was an actor in the skit. Yeah, yeah. If you know, you know.
It was
It
so
had
good,
this.
Felipe. It just opens up on this little tiny black and white pony, and like, I mean, you know how a pony is. He's bucking and kicking, and whoever it is on this Tonto gets shut down a couple
Yeah,
times. It's phenomenal, man.
that was faithful Brogan Miller, but video has 20,000 views on YouTube, and I cannot take credit. That is Wyatt Harris's work. That's his prized possession. So,
Okay.
but yeah, that was
Oh,
some good times. We do some skits. He did another skit that Ty is in, called like is the Man in Black. He's a bandit. It's Ty, NFR qualifier, 7-time NFR qualifier, 6-time NFR qualifier. Joel Brayton Harris, NFR qualifier. Brogan Miller, bunch of 25-year-old men doing a skit. You know, it is like it was just so gold, man. It's just so much fun. You know.
I love that shit, dude.
that,
That's
so
how my stuff popped off too, was just writing jokes about the things I knew the best, right? Team roping, rodeo, traveling, barrel
Yeah.
races, all the dumb, weird, quirky shit we do from A to B as rodeo athletes. And that's, yeah, essentially how my shit kind of got going too. It was like, oh, look at that. Other people find this funny. I should keep doing this.
Parody, bro. It's
Mhm.
comedy, man. We need it. It's so good.
But that's so funny. I didn't know that. I need to watch this video now. I need to find this video. Cole, send me the link after
Send it.
so I can
Gotcha.
watch it. Cowboy Cole. Stop talking to you guys at this point here. Cole Harris, Cowboy Cole. But so Cole Harris, like, is this? I'm sensing that some kind of artistic vein in your family. Like, what's going on here? Everyone, like, is there someone like, is there an older guy that made it as a filmmaker? Like, where did all this come from?
Dude, truly, I'm no word of a lie. Obviously, I'm a Christian. I'm not just saying this to say it, but Wyatt is creative. He's been since he was 4 years old. There's a video of him literally as a barely 4 or 5 years old on YouTube making YouTube videos. Me on the other end, I mean, I'm dead serious. Before I found God, I mean, I was a jock in high school, sports, girls, parties. That's it. Like that's all I was. And then literally I found Jesus. Jesus saved me in 2020. And then now I am just creative. I don't know if it's something that was already there that the Lord brought out of me. I don't know if like it's something that literally changed about me, but all I know is I was a jock, wasn't creative, found God, and now I love making videos. Now I love storytelling. Like I do skits. Like I mean, I'm all in it. You know what I'm saying? There's no person that was in film school. My dad's a businessman. My dad's an entrepreneur. He owns a furniture company. He rents out furniture. Um, he SSD West. I don't know if y'all seen SSD West. It's a similar to Cavender's. It's Western Outfitter, Cinch, Rock and Roll, Ariat, Wrangler. You know, they sell all that stuff. He's a cattle rancher on 400 acres. You know what I'm saying? So he's not a creative person. My mom's not a creative person. It's just God, bro. I mean, that's the simplest thing I could say.
Do you like? Are you okay to talk about that?
Oh, yeah.
About what led you to that journey to your spirituality and to finding God?
Man, deep question, man. We only got 45 minutes, so I'll keep it short and sweet. But
Give me the close notes.
the cliff, yeah, I got you. Both notes. And the truth is, for me, John 4, it says, there was a woman who went to the well. Okay, and she was a Samaritan woman. She wasn't a Jewish woman. Jesus was a Jew. Jews are not supposed to talk to Samaritan women, right? So this woman goes and she's drawing water at noon, and Jesus says, "Can you give me a drink?" And he goes, "Who are you to ask?" This woman goes, "Who are you, a Jew, to ask me, a woman, a Samaritan, for a drink of water?" Jesus goes, "If you knew who I was, you would ask me, and I would give you a drink, and it would be living water. And you will never thirst again. It will well up in you to eternal life, and you will never thirst again." And when I read that verse, there at the time in 2019, you know, I'm partying, but there's that endless search of dopamine, endless search of satisfaction. You know, famous people in the Bible is like King Solomon. There's some people in the you know, Dan Bilzerian, you know, he's a non-Christian guy who's going down that route, who talks about it. You know, it's that endless pursuit of pleasure and dopamine, and it just leaves you empty. And then I find this Jesus who's like, not only will you never like I'll satisfy you, but it will overflow to eternal life. Not only will you be satisfied, but you will satisfy others in a sense. You know, it'll overflow. And when I read that, I was just hooked. Like there was this hole in my soul that I couldn't ever fulfill, that only Jesus can fulfill. Now I could make an argument that there's, you know, if we study it, the more I've studied it, I think there's something in that in all of us, right? But yeah, man, that's just to put it simple. I think Jesus satisfied me in a way that nothing else could.
I
Wow.
love it. That's awesome, man.
So, like,
So
Who did
Mic drop, I
somebody?
guess.
I'm trying to think of a cool question to go along with this because I mean we all have our come to Jesus moment. So like, do you remember where you were where you're like, fuck, I need help, man? Like, did you know who to
Oh
call?
yeah, bro.
Did you ask around? Did it take a while, or did that person when you were like, I need help, did that person, as it naturally will, when you ask, you receive, right? Like, did they show up?
That person was God, bro. I remember where I was. It was 2 o'clock. It was February 20 something at 2 a.m. I always remember it because it was two bunch of twos repeating. It was February 20
Wow.
something at 2 a.m. As men, we can be honest. I'm crying my eyes out, right? We try to be tough all the time, but there's a weak side
Yeah.
to us. I'm crying my
Yes,
eyes
sir.
out at 2 a.m. And I had felt this tension in my soul, like, man, I want to follow God, but I keep indulging in sin and drinking, partying. We all know what that stuff is. I keep doing that, but I know I want to follow God deep in my bones. And it came to a point at 2 a.m. where I'm like, right, like you're saying, Cole, I cried out for help for the first time. I had never done that before, but at this point, I'm like, God, I need your help. And I said explicitly, I need your help. I have been trying to live life my own way. I've been trying to do it what I think is right. I am done living life that way. And now I'm going to live it your way. And I'm going to do what you say. My way left me depressed. My way left me anxious. My way left me broken. Help me. Nothing can be worse than what I just did, or what I've been doing. So that was that moment. And I stay to this day, Cole. That's the day I was saved. That's the day my life changed. I feel like before then, if I was to die, I wouldn't have gone to heaven. And I feel like after that day, that's when I was saved. And it's crazy. That's what I was saying, Felipe and Cole. That's what I'm saying. After that, I start, listening to worship music. I start getting in the Word of God every single day. And I start to listen to worship music, and I would close my eyes every morning and I would start to see visuals of what I think would go with this song, aka videography, right? So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm starting to worship, and I'm starting to have, and then I start to try to practice and put some things to it. And along with that, there was things in my life that instantaneously I had no more desires for, right? Number one, smoking weed. Okay. I used to smoke a lot of weed, and there was a instant kill of that desire. You know what I'm saying? There's some other things that, I've had to work out over time. The Lord worked out, but man, it's just the reason I say that, Cole, is like, you're like, when was that moment? And that moment was that night. And there was things that I just can't, you can't say anything about supernatural because there's new things that came, aka creativity, and things that immediately stopped. And that was, smoking weed and stuff. But anyway, I know that's super deep. I don't know if that's this what you want to talk about, but
Dude,
I
no,
No,
this is
man, this is
really,
amazing, bro.
yeah, we're all for it, dude. This is kind of what this podcast is all about because at the end of the day, man, we all deal with all of our own shit and
Yeah.
how we handle it, how we overcome adversity is essentially why we're all sitting where we're at today. You know, we've been able to overcome a lot of adversity, all three of us, and so no, this is exactly what we like to get into, man, because you had the choice right there. And sometimes you don't make the choice for help and it gets worse and you go down a dark path, but you didn't. And now here you are. And we love to hear those stories about how you're right here.
and to make it full circle about, Roy Cooper, he passed away suddenly, I mean, like, that's rodeo. That's what I love about rodeo. And I was at the NFR, and me, Ty, and Joel Brayton, all three of us got to get on Flint Rasmussen's live show there. We're sitting there talking. We're talking about rodeo, and I love, bro, rodeo, the sport. There's nothing like it, man. There's nothing like all, six or seven disciplines now. You know, people making a living, going thousands and thousands of miles, competing at the NFR for 10 days, 10 rounds, the mental stress, the physical stress, the everything it took to get there. There's nothing about this sport. There's nothing like the sport, and I love it so much. But it's easy to just get lost in the sport. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing like, with what happened with Mr. Roy Cooper, that there's as good a time as any to be like, rodeo is amazing, but it can't be our God. We got to have something bigger than that because this life will
Yes,
end and
sir.
it can end suddenly. And we got to make sure. And that's why it was so amazing with Roy when he talked about it on the podcast. He talked about this very idea that we're talking about. He echoed that in the podcast we do with him. But back to the Flint Rasmussen thing, I got to say on there, there's nothing like the rodeo community. There's not a lot of industries that you can talk about God now. You know,
Yeah.
we live in a very liberal place, liberal
Yeah.
now, and I get to sit on the should have been a Cowboy podcast and talk about Jesus, and I got to sit on Flint
Yeah.
Rasmussen show and talk about Jesus. You can talk about Jesus on the Cowboy channel. You can talk about Jesus
Yeah.
anywhere in this industry and not be ridiculed for it. You know.
That's something that sorry to cut you off for a sec, but when you go to the NFR or any rodeo, like what if live event stops to pray before the event? Like nowadays, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't exist. Like
No, that's so right, Felipe. That's so right. And even these announcers, like we just interviewed Boyd, and when you hear
yeah.
there's something about a Boyd praying in that deep, raspy voice that it's just like, do my prayers count as much as his?
It's so good. And it's
Yeah.
like there's a slow pacing to it. Like there's the rhetoric. Like he should have been a politician because the pacing of it all is just like, oh my God, you're holding on to like every word. But man, I love it. I love it that you're opening up about all this. I think it takes a lot of bravery. It takes, it's not easy to talk about this stuff. And like Cole said, we all go through it. And I love it because sometimes people feel like they're alone. They feel like they're the only one. And it's only by these conversations that we can help others. And maybe someone's struggling right now with addiction or, trying to find God, and they hear this and all of a sudden it might put them on the right path. So thank
Can I
you
say
for.
one more thing, Felipe, too?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I would love that.
I heard a stat that the highest suicide rate is amongst farmers. And I would say
Yes, sir.
that rate probably would be somewhat equal with the rodeo world too, because we're such hardworking people that we're stubborn people, and we're one of those people that we won't open up if something's going on, you know.
Yeah, we have a hard time opening up. Vets as well. We're talking about like the highest rates of suicide as well and depression. And I think we need to break that stigma down. Mental health. It's easy to say, "Hey, I broke my arm. Oh, okay, he's sick. His arm's broken. Oh, he has a cancer. Oh, okay, but hey, I'm depressed." You can't see it, you can't touch it, and we still have a lot of stigma around it, especially in our Western industry. We had Daryl on last week on the pod. We talked a lot about it. He's doing a lot of work in Canada when it comes to mental health amongst men, amongst farming and ranching and the Western community. But I think that's where it starts. It's opening up. It's speaking about it. It's sharing stories. I went through depression. I talked about it on the pod when you guys interviewed me, and I felt like I was the only person in the world. Like looking back now, I'm like, what an idiot. Like everyone goes through it. And I just felt like I couldn't talk to anybody about it. Like it was in my mind, like so strong. I remember this feeling of like, I can't open up to people. I can't show weakness. Like I'm a cowboy. I need to toughen up. I can get through this. And I couldn't. I started drinking. I started doing things that, were very dangerous. And now I value, people like you opening up because I know it's so powerful. But I want to ask you, when you had this moment in February, how long did it take for you to pick up the camera for the first time? And what was it? What was the first project you worked on?
Yeah, 6 months, 5 months, June of 2020. That was COVID year. Me and Joel Braden, he's now an NFR calf roper himself. We started the King Division podcast, and I picked up an old T7, and y'all probably know the T7Is. Anybody who's started in videography knows about them freaking T7, man. Them suckers, they're terrible, bro. But picked up that, tried to record some podcasts, and then, dude, that was it. Everything I learned came from King Division podcasts. You learn qualities. Why does lighting? When this light's behind them and the key light's right here on 45-degree angle, and there's a practical behind them? Why do you pop from the screen lighting? Why do my camera settings do everything, bro, was King Division podcast.
So cool. So, like, outside of just filming content, who's a filmmaker? Like, what kind of films do you like to consume personally? What are you into?
Oh, now we're getting into it. I was wondering because
Yeah.
Felipe is you're a media man. Felipe is a documentary man. I mean, Felipe, let me ask you, what's the next project you working on? You working on anything?
Yeah, bro, for sure. It's had a meeting about it.
Is this allowed to be on the podcast?
Oh yeah, I speak it to the world because I'm a big believer if you speak it, if you write it down, it will come to fruition. It will become true, right? So I want to become the Anthony Bourdain of the Western world. I want to show culture through the horse and ranching and farming. So I want to go, to the gauchos in South America and hang out with them and then film it all and show their culture, show their music, show their food. And at the end, there's always like a challenge. Then they're like, oh, you got to ride a bucking horse like we do. Then I go to London and play polo with the guys. Then I go to Kazakhstan and play that crazy dead goat game. But while doing all this, you're showing culture. So yeah, it's a series, and it will take me to the end of my life, and I'll just do season on season on season, traveling the world, showing culture through our beautiful Western heritage and the horse.
Bro. That's why I was gonna bring it up, but I wanted you to bring it up first because you told me about bucking broncs and like Saudi Arabia in the desert or something. I'm like,
Yeah,
I can already visualize that in slow motion, and it just seems so legit. So you need to
yeah.
go through with it, bro. That's awesome.
Oh, it will happen. It will happen all in due time. But yeah, tell us about yourself.
No, the I'll be honest, the people I look up to and the people I watch, um, I guess I'm giving up my sources, what I my people, but there's a guy named Danny Gevertz. He's like this cool, chill, hippie kind of dude that makes documentaries about running, sports. He ran track in college, but he's good. The inspiration behind my first documentary, which I'm actually posting the second season of Journey to the NFR in
No.
in May. Fingers crossed in May. Like I got my rough draft finished, but that was inspired by Netflix Drive to Survive,
Nice.
Formula One racing, bro. I'm a freaking nerd, dude. I be out here watching Formula One on a Sunday afternoon, man. It like Formula One racing gets me going. Um, and obviously there's been a string of documentaries that have came from that. There's a quarterback and wide receiver series. There's that. There's the full swing. There's the full speed NASCAR, full swings golf. There's all of these have stemmed from that Drive to Survive.
Yo, the guys that did the F1 did one on horse racing. I just started watching it and it looks ridiculous. I don't know what the name of it is, but
I
it looks
didn't
really,
see I didn't see it. I haven't watched it yet, but I've seen the trailer for it.
yeah,
I mean, literally, like if you the documentary covering a season is infiltrating every sport and every niche and industry possible right now. I mean, every
yeah,
week there's a new one,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Um, but I also about guys, I'm a big movie guy too. Big movie guy. I don't know
Yeah.
if y'all know Christopher Nolan. Surely y'all know Christopher Nolan. Like Interstellar, Tenet. Uh, he did. There's an old one called The Prestige, 2006 movie with Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale.
Oh yeah.
I mean, y'all maybe not know that one, but y'all know them actors. Y'all need to go watch that one. But Christopher Nolan has a way of I'm amazed. The first documentary I ever made, and guys, I'll be honest, I haven't yet tapped into this. This is a life. I'm with you, Felipe. This is a lifelong journey, man. But
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan has a way of telling a story that you kind of know where it's going, but why do I feel like anxiety and suspense and like I know what's it's like Oppenheimer. Like I know what happened in Oppenheimer. Like I know how the story ends. I know what happened in Dunkirk. I know that, but why am I on my toes still? He does this way of storytelling where it's non-linear. Like he'll use time. He'll like flash back from different viewpoints and stuff. And I'm amazed at how you can tell a story. Like Felipe, you get it. Cole, you get it. Storytelling is there's something amazing about it that I can edit a cool video. I can film it in 6K, 8K. But when you craft a story, which kind of comes down back to writing, I mean, truly, guys, if you have to write it down first, and that's almost better than before you even go film. And you can craft together a good story. I'm amazed by the nuances of it.
Man, I don't know if
That's
you've
awesome.
listened to this yet, but Robert Rodriguez on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I don't know if you've seen any of that guy's movies, but he talked about some of the people he was around when he got into becoming a filmmaker and everything, and they'd always say your first four drafts, throw them away, or your first three, throw them away. The fourth one's the best. He's like, but I always live by the rule, write your first draft, film your first draft. Because then you're gonna go learn, like you said, every nuance of getting that draft filmed and ready to, be sent to a film festival or to show somebody. He's like, so when you do get to that fourth one, you are so much more ready to overcome adversity, absolutely crush it. You know how to run the boom, you know how to set up the lights, you know how to edit it together, but you've got to truly be in love with the process. And like you were saying, hanging out
100.
on a Sunday watching F1, baby, that's a part of being a creative, man. When your job is consuming
100%.
what you want to maybe, I can take rodeo and I can make it that. You get to sit there and watch how they.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right about the second one you said about getting to the rough draft as fast as possible. My documentary right now is about some of the greatest calf ropers this year: Shad Mayfield, Riley Webb, Ty Harris. And I'm not just saying that because he's my cousin. He ended up coming in the fourth man in the world, so that's
Yeah.
not biased, although I am biased. But Riley Webb, Haven Meged, Shad Mayfield. Uh, why am I meant Shane Riley Webb, Shad Mayfield, Haven Meged, Ty Harris.
Haven?
That's
Yeah.
four. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
four. That's four.
Yeah.
And I go out to their house, spend a day with them, film there. I go to the NFR for 10 nights. I'm back there every day. And then I have all of the regular season. So there's so much. There's a regular season, there's NFR, there's the home feature, let alone these guys being high caliber athletes. It's like I can't screw this story up now. I mean, this is a big deal. Um, but I'm Cole, to your point, when I was editing this, I'm like, get it to the freaking rough draft as fast as you can
Yeah.
because Cole, like I consider myself Cole in 2 weeks. Like future Cole, it's like he's a different person. He'll ridicule you. I'm like Cole when he's fresh with his mind, he'll tear this up and he'll fix it up. But if I try to get to the rough draft as fast as possible because then I'll go to sleep, wake up the next day, and I'll see things that need to be fixed that I didn't see the day before. And it's weird. It's weird. It almost kind of feels like cheating sometimes. It doesn't even feel like I'm creating. It feels like I'm just doing this, and it's almost like problem solving. Honestly, it's honestly one big game of problem solving, I would say.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it's a huge part of it. And I think that's the reason why most people don't get it done or don't ever do it because it's when you think about it, it's so complicated in your head. But when you get out there, you just do the best you can, get that rough draft in, and then just better, turn a diamond, a stone into a diamond. But you talk so nonchalantly about it, like you're there for 10 days, you're there the entire season. Like that's a huge opportunity to be that fly on the wall and be around this caliber of humans, right? Not only athletes, but human beings. What's that like? Like, can you share some stories with us? Like, being around Ty and seeing the grit and seeing the work and seeing what it takes to get to these positions of roping at the NFR.
Yeah. Honestly, the first thing that came to my mind, that saying when it says don't get close to your heroes. I don't know. I don't know. That's
They may let you down, or what is it? Something like
yeah,
may
that.
let you down. It's it's like I said, in 2023, I make that video of Tough, and it's like, what Tough Cooper or even my cousin, bro. I looked up to my cousin so much. I'm like, dude, he's a rock star. Rodeo Cowboys are rock stars. I don't care what you say. They're rock stars, man. They do the same thing rock stars do, and they have as many followers on Instagram as rock stars do, and they perform in pretty much as many people as rock stars do. But you get close to them, and that was the first thing I noticed after about 6 to 8 months to a year is these are normal dudes, and they actually probably go through more stuff than the average person that you would think. Um, yeah, just it's funny to see the drama behind the scenes. That's one thing. The drama behind the scenes, the who doesn't like who, and this person's mad at this person for some
Yeah.
stupid thing and it's like even horse deals, like
yeah.
people buying horses from each other. There's always one person that goes away pissed off. Like I've yet to this day to hear of a good horse deal, respectfully. They're probably out there, but I think I don't have an exact story that's coming to mind, but those are the things that I just love. That's interesting that people put these guys on a pedestal, and they deserve to be on a pedestal, and they are, but they're just normal dudes too.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time.
100%.
Honestly, most people only ever get to see them in the arena with their patches on and looking all
Yeah.
For
proper
12
and
seconds.
professional.
Yeah.
They didn't realize that there was almost a fist fight between the tie down ropers 15 minutes ago, right? Like you could have the most hilarious reality TV show If you could just follow these guys around the barns and from rodeo to rodeo to rodeo and get that guy at 3:30 in the morning just speed drumming on the freaking wheel while he's trying to just wheel her into wherever, right? Like people want to
I
see that.
will say this: calf ropers are more. They're like middle school girls, kind of when it comes to drama. Like, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I love all of them. I love all of them, but they're more standoffish. They have their
Yeah.
this little clique. You know, you're cool with this guy. Usually, you're traveling buddy, but then
Yeah.
they split up, and then you're not cool with your traveling buddy because you have a new traveling buddy. You kind of stick with your own. But I've been working with some saddle bronc guys lately. They are the as far polar opposite as you could think. They're high school varsity locker room vibes. Like they get bucked off by a horse and like, well, that's like, well, that sucked. And they're all cracking jokes and making fun of each other. And it's wild. The completely, Ty even said up until 3 years ago, he didn't know any saddle bronc riders that were going. You know what I'm saying? Because they stick to their event. They don't watch the rodeo. They're in the back
Yeah.
horse for the first couple events. They leave right after their event. There's no, it's kind of in a way segregated, you just kind of stick with your own, but it's just interesting.
This is like the more we talk about this, it's just screaming like a show. Like someone needs like the office style of
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that like mockumentary style awkward humor of like the saddle bronc riders, the barrel racers, the tie down rovers. Like how good would this be? Like
Well,
It
Philippe,
would be electric.
my
Go
sister
ahead.
and I, my sister and I, we've written a scripted mockumentary of a truck full of cowboys and one cowgirl trying to make the NFR. We start at Denver and we go all the way until, and then season two, we were gonna write as like the ones who make it to the finals, and then the couple others will be there spectating, right, cheering on the crew.
yeah, I've read it and it's good. You need to make this thing.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God.
That I think it would be a ultimate winner on one condition. You would have to have actors and then one guy that you could find that is actually like he doesn't care about the camera. Dude, the more I film these guys, bro, it's hard. It's hard to pull the gold out of them, man. But if you find one guy, it's like Cole Robertson, and then you have a few actors that are doubles, and then you have one like real guy going. That could be a hit, bro. That
Yeah.
could be a hit.
Absolutely. And the guy's got access to all these other dudes that if you're filming a slack, man, you could have a Tanner Milan walk through there. You could have a Wagisback walk through there, right? You could have Tough Cooper
Yeah.
trickle into a scene and do something, say a line like, man, the connections are there to make it real, right? Make it something,
Yeah.
an actual scripted comedy for our world and for what we would actually consume.
Just like Entourage, right? I love the Entourage podcast with those guys, Victory. And they talk about like the first few seasons, people didn't know if it was like a mockumentary, if this was like reality TV. Like the line is so blurred because they bring in real people. Like LeBron James will just walk by, or Wayne Gretzky's at this charity golf tournament. So yeah, I love that, man. That's so dope. But Cole, we're running out of time here, and I have a few questions I want to ask you before we finish. What's your year like? Are you in the truck with Ty going down the road constantly? Do you jump in and out? Like, how does it work?
2023, I went. So obviously, the rodeos in the spring, in the winter are really spread out. So that's its own thing. But then the summer run starts in June and it's all the way to September. It's 100 days basically. In 2023, I went half the time. So 50, I would fly back and forth. I have a girlfriend here, so I would come back and visit her half the time. She would have been pissed if I wouldn't have done that. And then last year was a little bit less, probably 40 days, 40 to 50. It's about the same. But this year it's going to be less because last year I was working more freelance videography. This year is just going to be podcasting, really. I'm working for two rodeos, or one right now for sure, Pinoca Stampede,
Yeah.
one of my favorite of the year. It's such a legendary rodeo. So I have a few commitments there, and then just traveling if we need a podcast guest because Ty will be on the road. But this year will be a little bit less, probably. Who knows? all after all said and done, it may be the same. I don't know, but
I feel like you're saying that now, but it's probably gonna be the same or more. I have the same like
probably be more.
I say the same things. I'm like, oh, this year is gonna be calmer, and then all of a sudden, like the whirlwind picks up, and you're just going nuts. But the other question I want to ask you, sorry, Cole, Cowboy Cole, I'll let you get back to your like, Bajitos. Very few. North Americans have been down to Bajitos, the largest rodeo in Latin America and
Oh
Brazil.
yeah.
You were there last year. Explain to your homies in the US, what is it like for if you just met an alien, you had to explain like what is Bajitos? How do you explain it?
A mix of a rave slash DJ slash soccer game. I mean, when that brother came in at the end, he came in the last. They almost have it's like a tiered levels of commentators. So you get to the boss level, which is that homie who came in the last, came in on a sports car whipping donuts, and then he literally has this guy on the mic on the DJ, and he's singing. He's literally singing along with the fans, and then every 15 seconds, it's this ADD lifestyle we live on it with Instagram. Every 20 seconds, it's a new song for two
Yeah.
hours. For two
Yeah.
hours while
Yeah.
commentating bull riding, bro. I mean, it's something I've never seen. I think if we ever got a parallel to that in America, I think it would be the biggest thing rodeo's ever seen. I honestly think that. But then it's funny because the fans in Barretos, they're sitting there all calm, like this, while there's this like party, yelling, speakers, music going on there, like because they're so numb to it. I guess you'd say you know better than me, but I guess they're numb to it because they're exposed to it. Like soccer's like that, baseball's like that. Every sport is very loud. But yeah, it's one of a kind, man.
That's freaking
I love
awesome.
it. Love it.
Okay, well, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to hop on with us, Cole. It's been very cool getting to learn more about you and hear about your journey. And we got one question that we like to ask all of our guests. Per our name should have been a cowboy. We like to ask our guests who aren't cowboys what kind of cowboy they would be if they were not a cowboy. So that is my question to you, Cole. What kind of
Hey, I'm
cowboy?
a creative cowboy, bro. Don't disrespect me like that. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, you know what I mean. Come on, you know what I mean.
I would be talking about an event.
It could be
No, it
anything. It
could
could
be
be a
like a
ranch
hiking
cowboy.
cowboy,
It
it
could
could be a
be
gaucho. Yeah,
yeah.
it could be dressage,
I would
rein.
be a I would be I would be a saddle bronc rider. I think saddle bronc is probably one of my favorite events. I think that's rank.
It's got that
Can we
style.
get you on a saddle bronc horse?
No, sir. No, sir. We could get on a spur board maybe, but yeah, I did. These guys, they years of practice, Felipe. Actually, when you get on it for your documentary, tell me how it goes. Then I'll make my decision. How about that?
I
I'll
like
be like on a wheel. I'll wheel up to you, be like, "Don't do it, man."
that.
You'll come
Yeah.
back in a wheelchair to crush and be like, bro, you should totally get on. I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw what happened
Okay.
to freaking Jimmy over there, Felipe. Turned
I
into
know.
Drake from the
Thanks,
grassy.
thanks for getting me on, guys. It's an honor. Y'all are doing amazing
No,
stuff. I
buddy.
appreciate it,
No,
guys.
no. So
Too.
are you, buddy. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's so important that the work you're doing is just so important for all of us in the Western industry. You know, you're putting a face to it and doing it such a cool manner. From the first video I watched, these videos you're talking about, Zeke, the one he collabed on, Tough. Like I remember seeing those and it was just so different. It was like, who is this guy? And like, what is this? Because it didn't look like anything I'd seen before in your documentary and now the podcast. Like you got the Midas touch, buddy. Everything you touch turns to gold. So congratulations, big things coming. I can't wait to watch the second season that you're about to hopefully May put out. I can't wait to watch that and everything you guys do.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
Got
Yes,
her.
sir. We'll
Later.
talk soon, buddy. What's crazy? The thought process of this is going to be tough for me because there's two Coles on the podcast. It never hit me till we started.
Yeah. And it flowed quite well, actually. And at the beginning, there was definitely a couple times where you were like, Cole, thank you. And I could have very easily been like,
Yeah.
"You're welcome." But we're pros.
But but yo, what a story, eh? Like I thought this like based on his work, I thought he studied film. He was a film major. Like he'd been filming stuff since he was a kid, and to hear this that it just recently happened and through God and everything, his journey, like how neat was that?
Yeah, because that was a couple of my questions, honestly, was like, okay, you're the man behind the lens. So tell me, how did you end up there? Did you rodeo? Did you not like to rope?
Yeah.
Like, how did you end up behind the lens? Because I even struggle with that myself, dude, of wanting to just take the camera and spend a practice session on the camera to get dope ass shots, but ultimately I want those dope ass shots of cowboy pole roping, right? So I always like
Yeah.
to I got that big time kind of cinematographer side of me, dude, that loves to just see that shot come together. And so it's really cool to see how he went from not even flirting with it at all until 2020, man.
I I know that just boggles my mind because everything he does is so professional. It's so like high end. It's so well done. Like I said, I literally thought I was gonna ask him, and he was gonna say, "Yeah, I studied film in university." And from the first thing I remember as a kid, had a camera in my hand, and it's like the total opposite of it.
Yeah,
So, it is God. It's got to be God because like, how do you like just learn the skill and become one of the best in the Western industry today? He is one of the best at creating the content, right?
absolutely, man. It's cool when he was telling us about that story. All I could think of was he asked for help and baggage was dropped from his body that he didn't even know he was carrying, and that made space for the new things to come in. I even practice that myself all the time. Like even when I go to get in the shower, I'll be like, hey, I'm showering off anything that is clung to me that doesn't need to be clung to me, that I don't know about.
Amen.
Make room for the good shit to
Amen.
come get to me.
And a huge, I think, lesson for everyone, for us, is just ask for help
Yeah,
and you shall have it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's just the egos, the everything, right? The things we complicate life with, it's tough to take that step back and say, I need help. Like, please, I need help. And that's where it starts. That's where the road to recovery starts. That's the road to success starts, I think, a lot of times. So yeah, ask it and you shall have it. That's what I take my takeaway from it.
I couldn't agree more, brother. What an absolute stellar episode. Stoked for our next guest. You guys get to find
Yes,
out
sir.
next week who that is. So stay tuned. Thanks for checking us out. Don't forget, follow us on all the social medias, all that cool stuff.
You! Ciao, obrigado.